Hello, I'm Matt Guff from House.com, and these are some ride snowboards for the 2020 season, the Warpig and the Twinpig. Boards absolutely slay. They both have a lot of similarities and some differences, and they both serve kind of a different purpose. I'm going to give you the big overview and then kind of dive into the similarities and then get into their differences. And again, hopefully by the end of the vid, you'll be able to know which board's going to be best for you. If you can't make a decision, just get both. That's usually the easiest option, right? Starting off with this one, this is the Twinpig. This is an asymmetrical park board. Asymmetrical meaning that there's one heel side edge and one toe side edge. It has a volume shift story, meaning you can ride it shorter. It's quite a bit wider. And this one, the Warpig, this is also a volume shift style story short and wide, but it's for almost in freestyle use. Both of these boards have a very wide waist width, starting out in their shortest sizes with a 25 centimeter waist width, working their way all the way up to a 27 and a 27 plus style waist width in some of the bigger sizes. So if you have big feet, both of these boards are going to be great. Almost freestyle for the Warpig and park, and freestyle for the Twinpig. Now they both have centered style stances, so the nose and the tails are going to feel fairly similar. Now this is a true twin style board though, so the nose and tail shapes are the exact same besides their asymmetrical style, edges. Now this one I say has a centered style stance, but that's actually just between kind of like the running length of the board. Outside the running length on the nose of the Warpig, it's quite a bit longer. It has a nice, more gradual style sweep. They both feature hybrid style fiberglasses. That's Tri-X glass on top, which has nice loads of energy, and then Bi-X glass on the bottom, which kind of make it a little bit more mellow and pliable without being too stiff. And then there's double impact plates that build up the durability of both the boards that rest underneath both of those insert packs. And they both have a cool little construction feature called roll-in construction, meaning that the top she kind of rolls into this urethane style sidewall, which gives the edge a little bit more strength with the ability to reduce weight, which is really great. And then there's that slime wall. The Twinpig and the Warpig have a urethane slime wall that is basically not temperature sensitive. It will flex the exact same in cold temps as it does in really warm temps, which is nice because if you ride, you want to make sure your board feels consistent underneath your feet and doesn't actually change to the temperature conditions that you're riding in. Another great thing that ride does with the Warpig and the Twinpig is they give them sintered style bases with a very deep kind of stone ground style finish. This one, of course, this is an explosive pop of color. One of the greatest things about watching someone ride this board is like when they're carving deep, you can actually see these neon colors kind of reflecting off the snow as if the board is glowing, which is pretty dope. And both of these things, because they can be ridden in the park, or they tend to be ridden in the park a lot, have a 360 wrap standard steel edge that's actually uses 50% more steel. It's called the cleave edge, and the idea behind that is to beef up the edge so it's less likely to crack and break. Now diving into this one, the Twinpig. This is an asymmetrical deck. Again, true twin centered stance, but it features a twin hybrid rocker profile shape. It's pretty cool. It has kind of a combination of both rocker and camber. Basically, camber in between the feet gives a nice pop. Of course, the pop is like pretty quick right behind your back foot. There's nice stability while you're on an edge. And then of course there's going to be a little bit of rocker on that nose and the tail. The rocker on the nose and tail lifts those contact points up so it's less catchy if you're just buttering around on snow or even bringing it to the park. It's easier to kind of get over the top of that nose or tail and kind of press them out. But the Warpig, man, this is where it gets a lot different. This is a tapered directional style board. The nose is 10 centimeters wider than what you'll find in the tail, and it still rides and feels kind of like a twin board, surprisingly enough, at times. because of that centered stance within the effective edge or the running length of the deck. The profile shape of this is quite a bit different. It's called Directional Rocker. Basically, the board is flat, and then outside the front contact point, the board has a nice gradual style sweep, and almost a pretty similar kind of sweep that you'll find in the Twinpig, and of course, obviously, same shapes of their noses. The feel and flex rating of the Twinpig is going to be a 4. A little bit softer than your average style deck. You know, and this is a park board, a little bit more pliable for those boxes and rails, whereas the Warpig is about a 5, right in the middle. The nose and the tail of the Warpig are going to be a little bit more sturdy, and the center of the board maybe a little bit more torsionally pliable than those sections of the board. Inside of the wood core of the Warpig is actually called the performance core, and it's 3 different types of woods. It's a very strong style aspen, lightweight paulownia, and kind of poppy style bamboo. And then the Twinpig features a foundation core, which is an aspen core, which is of course strong and durable. Now, there's not really many additional laminates to either of the boards. There's really nothing additional about the Twinpig in regards to laminates, but there is carbon array 3 in what you'll find in the Warpig. There's 4 sections of 3 radiant carbon strands that start at the contact point and kind of radiate across the board to the opposite edge, kind of fan out. And that allows for better energy transfer and power from your board or from your feet directly to those contact points. So it's going to feel a little bit more sturdy while you're ripping down the hill. Now, again, getting into the feel of these boards, they're vastly different. This has what's called a tapered by radial sidecut. What I explain it as a reverse progressive sidecut. There's a smaller sidecut radius on the nose of the board and a larger one in the tail section of the board. So the Warpig will feel like it dives into a turn really, really fast, really aggressively, and it kind of has a more mellow out. But you know, with the carbon that you'll find in the carbon array 3, it still has good pop out of the turn. It just happens to dive into that turn really quick. And because it does have a tapered style shape, 10 millimeter wider nose, it's going to be easy to carve. The Twinpig, for instance, though, is vastly different because it's asymmetrical. There's a smaller side cut radius on your heel side edge and a larger one on your toe side edge. And you need to remember to mount your bindings up correctly, to put your left foot here and your right foot here. It doesn't matter if you're regular or goofy, left foot here or right foot here. And the idea behind having an asymmetrical style board is that when you're on your toe side edge, you have more flexion points. You have your hips, you have your knees, and then you have your ankles, right? Whereas when you're on your heel side edge, for the most part, you know, you're gonna have just your hips and your knees as a flexion point, because your high back is going to kind of like stop your ankles from like pointing out, unless you take your high backs off, I guess. But that makes the board easier to ride on your heel side edge, and I kind of like that too. If you like spinning front side a lot, having a smaller side cut radius heel side edge helps you kind of like snap those things pretty dang quick too. But these are both great decks. They have volume shift style stories. You can ride them a lot shorter, and they're extremely wide. And you know, a common question that people have is like, well, the Warpig and the Twinpig, they're really wide decks. I only have a size like 8 boot. Like, can I still ride the deck? Of course you can. What these boards will allow you to do is just dive deeper into those turns, creating greater edge angle because your feet will not scrape on the snow with a small boot. So this is it. This is the Twinpig. Great board for park riding. A little bit softer than your average board with a feel and flex rating of a 4. And this is the Warpig, a great all-mountain freestyle deck that you can basically take everywhere. That has a very aggressive feel into turns with a feel and flex. That's about average of a 5. Make sure to check out both boards at thehouse.com by selecting the links. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you guys on snow. Peace.